Hello, everyone, and welcome to our July MAC webinar, Best Practices for Instagram. We will be starting here in just a moment. Well, okay, everyone, I show that it's time to get started, so let's go ahead and get this thing going. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar. My name is Delynn Byers. I am the Senior Vice President of Marketing for First South Financial Credit Union, but more importantly for today, I am a member of the MAC board and the host for your webinar. We are very, very pleased today to have Renee Miller, the President and Creative Director of the Miller Group, who is going to discuss how we can use Instagram to reach our toughest demographic, 18 to 29-year-olds. I got to see a sneak preview of this presentation yesterday, and I will tell you guys it is phenomenal. You are really in for a great treat. Just to remind everyone, a couple housekeeping things. You are in listen-only mode, but there is a chat or question box, so if you will enter your questions there, we will get them to Renee and her team to answer. And after this webinar is over, you will receive an email with a link to both the slide deck and the recorded version of this webinar. So anyway, before I turn it over to Renee and her team, I would like to tell you a little bit about MAC for those of you who may not be familiar with us, and if you guys can, thank you very much. We've been around for a little over 30 years. We are dedicated and wildly dedicated to the professional development of credit union marketers. There are many, many benefits to being a member of MAC. For example, you get to attend these wonderful webinars for free. You get exclusive access to content in the members-only section of our website, which is macnetwork.org. You also get discounted pricing on all of our events. And we have two events that are coming up. And if you guys will, there we go, our upcoming events, like our next webinar on August 22nd. We are also in the planning stages for Mini MAC 2019. And then, of course, we have got our fabulous MAC Conference 2020, May 26th through 29th in Denver, Colorado. So please visit our website or be looking in your inbox for emails for us about all of these wonderful upcoming events. Well, I know you guys didn't sign on today to listen to me, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Renee and her team.
Thank you so much, Delynn. Really appreciate it. So welcome, everyone. And today our program is on Instagram, the key to reaching your toughest audience. And you will be hearing from, just briefly from me as I make introductions to two of my team members. Alex Mayora, he worked at a startup launching a new brand in the market and used social media, specifically Instagram, to grow a following base of more than 25,000. The company took off. It's been very successful, and he's been with us since June. I'd also like to introduce Anya Schumacher. Before coming to the Miller Group, Anya worked at one of the most successful influencer agencies in the world. She was in charge of social media in Germany and grew the company's follower base to more than 30,000. So the thing that prompted us to put this together was we were working with a current credit union client on their Instagram account and a new strategy for our own account. And we realized it would be beneficial to share some of our key experiences and learning managing our own clients' Instagram accounts with best practices to help you successfully reach an audience of 18 to 29-year-olds. And Anya and Alex will guide you through the process. Very brief, one slide about the Miller Group. We're an award-winning boutique marketing and digital ad agency. We have a focus, one of our focuses is on financial services. We believe that every client engagement, whether it's a project or an enduring relationship, is an opportunity to create value, sometimes through a complete communications makeover, other times through just a nip and tuck. And we share with our clients a belief, the importance of brand positioning. So while services, and we all know every credit union has services, while your services do something, your brand stands for something. So that's a little plug about us, and now let's get on to the webinar.
So, I'm Alex. How will Instagram help your credit union? So first, we're going to look at a little breakdown of the audience. So this is an incredible opportunity to reach 18 to 29-year-olds. 67% of that age group is on Instagram, but also a growing age group, 30 to 49-year-olds. So there's a large opportunity here. So credit unions constantly need to expand their customer base and reach new audiences. And according to FICO, the hardest audience to reach is 18 to 29-year-olds. 67% of that audience, as I said, is on Instagram, and these are your future members. So why is this audience so valuable? This group actively seeks alternatives to traditional banks, and they will be the lifeblood of your organization for the next 10 years. More importantly, FICO reports that nearly 80% of this age group recommends their financial institution to a friend. This age group spends an average of 232 minutes on Instagram, which is an unbelievable amount of time. Now Anya is going to tell you a little bit about this opportunity for your credit union.
Hi, I'm Anya. So now we have an overview of why Instagram is so important for your credit union. Instagram is a valuable niche. With using Instagram, you're able to increase the engagement with your brand, and you're able to generate brand recognition. In a market that is full of different credit unions, it's really important to have your members engage with your own brand. So Instagram is a tool that enables you to have a maximum output with minimum input. So you decide how much you want to invest in Instagram to get as many new eyeballs on your credit union as you want. That is shown by a statistic that we found that shows that Instagram generates 58 times more of the engagement than Facebook does. Instagram also allows you to exploit user-generated content, for example, by reposting what your members are posting about you. Also, a thing that was growing within the last year is that video posts receive 38% more engagement than regular image posts. So by knowing that, you have an actual knowledge advantage over people who don't know that and only post images on their feed. A lot of credit unions haven't realized or recognized that Instagram is a very important business tool. Although one out of three of the most viewed stories are from businesses, 50% of businesses create at least one story every month, and a story is it's content that is only shown for 24 hours on your feed, which means it's very fast to create and also disappears again. 80% of accounts follow a business on Instagram, which means if your brand or credit union has a presence on Instagram, your audience will most likely follow you. Instagram is a huge platform. Instagram and Facebook both are the most biggest platforms. We have 200 million Instagram users who actively visit business profiles every day. And by using Instagram as a business tool, you get insights about your audience on both Facebook and Instagram. The insights that I have just mentioned are enabled to use with using a business account. It means that you're able to understand your audience and also to adapt the content based on your audience. Your insights will show you details on the audience. Are those females? Are those more males? How old is your followership? What do they do? What are they interested in? And by seeing that, you're able to adapt the content based on this knowledge. Also, a business account enables you to track your performance. We recommend you to create a weekly performance tracking, so you actually know, is my content reaching the people? Are my impressions going up? Are they constant or are they decreasing? Which would be a sign for you to adjust your content. Also, with a business account, you're enabled to promote your Instagram with ads, and in general, you're able to maximize the value you're getting from your Instagram.
And I just want to interject really quickly. What we noticed when we looked at a lot of the credit unions, a lot of you have a personal account. So we're going to actually show you how to set up your account as a business account. So after this webinar, you may want to just quickly check to see whether you have a business or a personal account.
Yeah, and as Renee just mentioned, you're probably wondering, how do I get a business account? And that's quite easy. You go in your Instagram settings and you just click Become a Business Profile. That's as easy as that. And then there are also different opportunities to become a verified account, which means you get this blue check mark that you can see on the slide. You often see that with celebrities or stars. It shows that the account is a verified person, and as you're in the financial industry, it's very important that the members have the trust that they're actually following the real account and not some fake account.
We also noticed that some of you have, not only do you have a corporate Instagram account, but some of you also have accounts for your branches. So you've extended your Instagram a little bit.
So now I'm going to talk about how you can start growing your Instagram presence. We've outlined a few sections for you. We have strategy, design and content, and actual execution. So after this presentation, you should have an understanding of exactly what you need to do to grow your Instagram presence and attract new members. So Instagram, it's easier than you think, and it's cheaper. So post scheduling tools can make sure that your content is posted automatically. When we talk about social media, we always talk about frequency and consistency, and we're going to outline some tools that you can use later on that help you with this. Content can be free and easily generated. So what I mean by this is, in a lot of forms of advertising and a lot of forms of promotion, you have to pay to get content. But this is one of the few forms where you can do it for free. And you can also do it quickly. Paid promotions are data rich and inexpensive. We're going to expand on paid promotions later, but this is a very unique platform. You can target people extremely accurately. Instagram is the only platform where visuals are the main focal point. So a lot of social media focuses on text and news and tips, but Instagram gives you a unique area where you can actually show the visual side of your credit union and develop a more personal connection with your members. Instagram is also one of the fastest growing media hubs, not only for the 18 to 29-year-old demographic, but all demographics are growing exponentially on Instagram. This is an area that you can get into now while it's still easy before it becomes saturated, especially in the financial institution area. You can also reach hundreds of thousands of people for a pittance. So whether this is with an organic post or with paid promotion, it costs very little.
Any questions so far? Okay. One thing too is Alex mentioned about the visuals. So he's going to share how you want to keep some consistency with pleasing visuals.
So now I'm going to talk about strategy. So first, as Anya mentioned, stories are a great tool to use on Instagram. This is content that's owned only for 24 hours. It's fast, it's easy. And as you see here, I use an example from Chase. It's a bank, but credit unions do the same thing, and they do it actually very well. So Instagram stories can be used to promote financial tips. They can be used to promote events. I know a lot of credit unions have fantastic community relations projects, and posting them on your Instagram story is a great way to get attention of your members and of potential new followers. Instagram stories can also be a great place to put insights on things you should be doing. So think you should be buying your first home? That's a great example. You can also create icons that highlight your stories and that are consistent with your brand. So reply to as many comments as possible. It's really important to remember that social media is a place for two-way communication. This is a place where your members can actually communicate back to you. So if someone comments on your post, you should try and respond 100% of the time. The point of social media is engagement, so it's not just you talking at your members, it's you having a conversation with your members. It makes you look very good, and it makes them feel heard. And moreover, a lot of credit unions are using this as a way to troubleshoot. So a member will comment and say, hey, I'm having trouble with my online banking system, and you can actually reach back and tell them, here's what you can do to fix that. So post at the right time. We talked a little bit about consistency, but timing is right too. So when Anya talked about business accounts and looking at the information that your audience gives you, you can actually look when they're most active. And this is a great tool. It costs nothing, literally. It's totally free. And all of these analytics are available as soon as you become a business account. So the average time your Instagram post will be active on their feed is about 1.5 hours. And the best time to post on average is between 4 and 5 p.m. on Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday. But once you become a business account, you'll be able to see the custom information for each and every one of your followers aggregated into one report. Now we're going to talk about design and content. So as a visual platform, we all understand that it's important to have design and content nailed down. So we're going to start with visuals. This is an example from SoFi Credit Union. Now, they actually did a really impressive job of rebranding their Instagram account a few months ago. They hired a designer to start developing original artwork for them. And of course, they're marketed towards a younger audience, so they post a lot of stuff about ramen, sushi, interesting new cocktails, as we see in these visuals here. But the important thing to keep in mind is no matter who your audience is, you need a theme and you need to stick with it. We can see here in this example that they've chosen a color scheme and a design. It's consistent with their brand, and they regularly post content that matches what they've posted before.
It's also consistent with their audience. So my guess is, we don't know for sure, but they probably did some research with their audience to see what kinds of things they gravitate towards. So it's not just about, as Alex said, pushing out your own agenda, but really pushing out information that would be relevant and interesting for them.
Very true. So along with great visuals come getting those visuals seen. So one way to do that is with hashtags. San Diego Credit Union uses a lot of really good hashtags, and they have a lot of really good posts. We noticed them as an account that stood out as doing very well. So San Diego Credit Union, in this case, created a hashtag giveaway. So they're giving away concert tickets. Now, this hashtag is always trending because everybody wants free stuff, of course. So they took advantage of their partnership with this radio station to give away concert tickets and get attention on the post. So this is low cost, it's very high ROI, and it's less expensive than any kind of paid advertising. It's literally just the cost of the tickets, and sometimes they might get that for free. So we don't recommend any more than 4 to 6 hashtags per post. Now, going back to original content and frequent regular content, a lot of credit unions have difficulty because it's a lot of time and dedication to put in. But we have some helpful tips that can give you content at really no extra effort. So we looked at an example from Navy Federal Credit Union. It's kind of a funny example. It was National Hot Dog Day recently, so they posted hashtag National Hot Dog Day. But that's just an example of many national days that we have. There's National Puppy Day, National Donut Day, and a lot of the best credit union Instagram accounts are using these national holidays to develop regular content. So it's good for not only doing that, but also for jumping on a popular hashtag that can get your post on other people's feeds for, once again, no extra cost.
And we do have a question that came in. Is it an advantage or disadvantage for an Instagram account to have an Instagram account for each branch, or do you recommend a single corporate account?
So that's a great question. It really depends on what your goal is, but in general, I would recommend for brand consistency to have one Instagram. The great benefit about Instagram, and we'll get more into promotion, is that you can actually target people within a half-mile radius, a mile radius. You can target them based on their city. You can target based on where they're from. So having one Instagram account doesn't limit you from targeting people locally. You can use your national Instagram account to target people anywhere you'd like. So having one Instagram account from your brand is usually more beneficial.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
So Anya mentioned earlier, Instagram is a platform you can use user-generated content. I'm going to elaborate on that just a little bit. User-generated content is one of the most impressive new developments with social media. So here I use an example from BECU. They really did an interesting campaign here, which once again did not cost them any money, where they used user-generated content to post on their feed. So every year, BECU has a calendar, and what they decided to do was ask their members to submit photos for that calendar, so they could post those pictures on their Instagram, promote their customers for free, and enjoy that mutually beneficial relationship of a connection like that. So BECU from this got a lot of engagement. They grew their follower base, and they were exposed on more Explore tabs. And an Explore tab is a page where potential members and followers can find your Instagram account. And all of this was at no additional cost. So it's really a great example of user-generated content. So also, we talk about members and we talk about employees, but it's really important to get the people that already know about your credit union and that are already really interested in your credit union to follow your Instagram account, because at the end of the day, it's a good place to engage with people who are interested. So this is an example from Canvas Family Credit Union. Canvas used a kind of funny national holiday, another great example of a credit union using a national holiday, to engage with their employees. So in this post, it's World Emoji Day. So they posted a picture of their employees with emojis superimposed over their face. And what this did for them was it got them on the hashtag World Emoji Day. And it's a lighthearted way of promoting their employees on their social media to engage with them. So Instagram is a lighthearted place, and you don't need to always be serious even as a credit union, and this is a perfect example of that. So other ways to do this can be to promote personal stories from employees. You can promote your employee in a program of the month, and special rates, really anything that's going on with your credit union. It's just a way to show members what's going on with their credit union. You can also drive current members and employees to follow your Instagram through email web marketing and by posting that icon on your website. We researched hundreds of credit unions, and most don't actually put the Instagram logo on their website along with the other social media channels. That's a really big way to get followers, and it costs, once again, nothing. Also, physical support materials are great. So when someone comes into your credit union, including the Instagram at the bottom of the page, it's a really great way to do it. We've also had some success with offering them something for a follow. So a really popular way to do that is when a member comes in, here, we'll give you a chocolate chip cookie if you give us a follow. It's a lighthearted way to do that.
And we have another question, Alex and Anya. The credit union is asking, should an Instagram post be unique just to Instagram, to that account, or should it be used across Facebook, Twitter? So if you could share that information, thank you very much.
So that would depend on the resources that you have. It's definitely possible to post the same content across your social media channels, but as we just saw, the different social media channels have different engagements. So I would say if your resources are limited, then I would maybe create one content that you adapt to each platform, like in a slide way. Or, for example, post similar content on Facebook and Twitter, but do put your focus on Instagram, because as we saw that the engagement there is way higher than on the other channels. But if you look at LinkedIn, for example, the content there has to be different, because it's a very different platform in my opinion. So I would recommend to choose a different content on there.
Yeah, and the fact that Instagram is driven by photographs, you would want to first make sure that you have a fabulous photo and it's relevant to your target. And then if it works on Instagram, you can modify it for your other content. But really, exactly, most important is to make sure that it's relevant to your audience and that it matches your feed. And Alex will talk later. We actually have a resource guide for you that shows how you can plan out your Instagram. We'll talk about timing as well, but how you can plan it out. And literally people spend, I know one of the accounts we manage, we spend time with a planner to make sure all the photographs are consistent and they're pleasing to the eye. These are things that are really important to followers.
Yeah, like Renee said, Instagram is very visual, and based on our experience, Facebook, for example, is great for articles. So that's a whole different kind of post. All right.
So now we're going to talk about execution. So we've mentioned paid promotion a little bit so far, but this is really a fantastic feature of Instagram, and it costs very little. So just looking at the example we have up here is from SoFi Credit Union. They offered $25 if you start investing with them. And what you can notice about this is there's a get offer button, and this post will show up in feed, and they can click on that. So paid promotions on Instagram can reach hundreds of thousands of people. It's literally, you just select who you want to reach, and it automatically uses hundreds of thousands of data points to target those people. So because Instagram is owned with Facebook, it uses Facebook Pixel. Now, this is an advertising program by Facebook. Facebook Pixel collects hundreds of thousands of data points on your audience. So it's going to be able to target people, one, based on location. So if you're concerned that your credit union is local, that's okay, because you can target people based on location. If you have a HELOC loan that's being promoted right now, you can target people who are interested in home loans. If you have a car loan or an auto loan, you could target people maybe who aren't interested in auto loans. You can even target people who are interested just in cars. So you have pinpoint accuracy with paid promotion on Instagram. And we have done a lot of that and have honed in exactly what strategies to use. We've been able to create custom audiences based on lists that we've been provided with, and we've also been able to develop something called lookalike audiences. And what lookalike audiences are is automatically aggregated audiences who look like your current members. So it targets people who are more likely to want to become a member than not. So the average cost on Instagram for paid promotions is only $6.70 per 1,000 views. Now, I'm sure many of you do traditional advertising, and that number is way higher for traditional advertising. $6.70 is really nothing in terms of a media buy. The 2.5 times better click-through rate, that's another great thing about Instagram. Because it's very visual, people are more likely to actually want to click on it, and we can measure this. So in the example of the SoFi sponsored content, if somebody clicks on Get Offer, that will take you to the website, and we'll be able to see where does that traffic come from. Where do those people click after? And we'll be able to optimize content to figure out how to keep them on your page longer and how to get them to sign up for offers. So you can include, of course, outside landing pages and links in the post. There's two types of paid promotion. So the example that we're showing here is an in-feed promotion. We mentioned earlier story versus feed. So this will be when your members are scrolling through their Instagram feed, they'll see something like this. But story promotions are very interesting too. So as your members are looking through the stories of other people that they follow, your content will be seamlessly played throughout. So they won't even necessarily notice that it's a paid promotion. It looks like organic content. It looks very genuine. And we're going to also, in our resources page, mention some tools that automatically design these for you. So as I mentioned, Instagram integrates with Facebook ads, and this is just another benefit to reaching more people. And I talked about the advanced targeting capabilities.
Well, one thing I want to also mention is that it's an adjunct to your current traditional digital campaign. We certainly want to emphasize that it's a great way to reach that audience, but it is an adjunct to your current digital and traditional ad campaign.
So a little bit more on paid promotion, because this really is huge. So we don't want to make it sound like promotion is the only way to go. Organic content is always important to have. It's important for engagement with current followers, and it's important to maintain consistent content. But paid reaches users who aren't followers yet, or who aren't members. So these are potential new members that are being targeted by similar interests. As I mentioned, interests in finance, interest in banking, interest in credit unions. Paid just simply gets more followers. and it's good for advertising promotions that you have going on. And of course, paid promotion is never a substitute for traditional advertising, but a supplement, but a very effective supplement at that. So we've talked about frequency throughout, but a lot of people don't necessarily know what does frequent mean. So we've actually quantified that. Now, there's a lot of research that's gone into what the optimal posting times are, what the optimal posting frequencies are, and it's different for every platform. It's interesting to see that Instagram differs dramatically from Twitter. So in terms of Instagram, we strongly recommend posting once a day. It's not necessarily as demanding as it sounds. As we mentioned, we have a tool that we're going to provide you with that will automatically do this for you. But frequency ensures that people pay attention to your account. It ensures that people see your account, so you will reach a higher number of people. And it ensures that you'll get on more Discover pages. So this is all about reaching people who don't necessarily follow you yet, who don't necessarily know about you yet, but who are interested in doing so. Every platform has a different frequency, which is why we included this graphic for you. And of course, we will send this after the presentation. So corporate partnerships. Yes?
Okay, we've actually had a few questions pop through, so if you don't mind, can I run through these real quickly?
Of course.
Paige, and I'm going to mispronounce your last name, so I'm not going to say it, but Paige asked, what do you recommend as a post cadence? 3 times a week, 1 time a day?
Well, so on Instagram, we recommend once a day. But we always say that if you can be consistent, you should be consistent. So if you can only post once a day for a month and then you won't post for a while, it's better just to post 3 times a week for as long as you can. That's a really great question because a lot of credit unions struggle with that. And that's one of the top ways to really grow your Instagram presence.
Perfect. And then we had a couple questions come in from Naomi Rucker. Her first one is there an economical social media tool that you recommend for publishing, reporting, or listening?
There is actually. We have a whole list of tools, and we'll talk about later that we have a resources page for you, Naomi, and for anyone who is interested. I have done a lot of comprehensive research on the best possible tools, and we actually have a lot of free ones that are really good that national brands use. So yes, we do have a tool, and we will provide you with that.
Okay, perfect. And then Kathy Meyer asked, how do you schedule a post?
Great question. So you can schedule a post a few ways, but we recommend a post scheduling tool. So all you have to do is log into your Instagram account with this tool, set a time that you want to post, and it'll do it for you. So later on, we have a resources page with all of these tools that will help you do everything that we present today. So each step that we're presenting, there is a tool that relates to that step that is not only automatic, but usually free too.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions?
Not at this time.
Perfect. So moving on to corporate partnerships, the one slide where there is no tool. So corporate partnerships are one of the top ways to grow engagement. Unify Financial, local credit union for me as I'm in Los Angeles and a Rams fan, but they partnered with the Rams, which is a really, really good move. This is going to grow their following astronomically. It's going to get them a lot of new members. And one of the important things to remember with partnerships is that you want to make sure people know about it. So yes, it's great to have the Rams as a partner, but it's also great to make sure that your members and your potential members know that you're partnered with the Rams. A successful partnership requires promotion. And I don't just mean paid promotion. I mean getting the word out that you have this now. So ticket giveaways. As we mentioned earlier, giveaways are always a trending hashtag, and they're a really good way to jump on a really popular thing that people can see on Instagram. Contests as well. So tying in user-generated content with corporate partnerships, you can run a contest. who's the biggest Rams fan and have your members post about it on Instagram and then award the ticket to whoever you believe is the biggest Rams fan. That's just an example, but there are many contests you can run. Also, endorsements. Now, from players and coaches, obviously, many endorsements will tie in, many corporate partnerships will tie in endorsements, but that's a really good way to grow a following. But also endorsements from the team's Instagram account. So having them post our new partner, Unify, could massively boost their following. Also, one of the hashtags they used was hashtag RamsCamp, which worked out very well for them. Are there any questions?
No, not right now.
Sure.
Oh, wait, just came in. Hold on, sorry. From Kathy Mayer.
No worries.
For the giveaways or contests, is that something you need to do on a consistent basis, like a certain day of the week or month?
That's a great question. So giveaways and contests don't necessarily need to be consistent. If you want to run them consistently, that could only help you, but not doing it won't hurt you. But a really good example that I like to look at for credit unions, and please feel free to check out their account, is SoFi Credit Union. So they ran a contest a few weeks ago giving away, I'm not sure if you've seen these new Swell bottles, but they're just metallic water bottles. And it got them about, if my memory serves me, 32,000 likes, just because people wanted the water bottle, but that exposed people to their Instagram account. So if you want to run a contest or giveaway, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It just depends on how much time you have. So if you want to do it once a month and call it your monthly giveaway, that would be great to do. If you want to do it once a week, I don't even know if you need to do it that often, but once a month would be good.
The other thing too is that we buy media for some of our clients, and some of the radio stations will, if you're buying radio, will give away tickets. You can do promotions with your radio stations, local celebrities.
Yeah, and those are good ways to give away stuff too. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think we're good. Thank you.
Perfect. Now, we talked about user-generated content. I know I'm really hammering the nail with this one, but this is a great way to get attention. This is just an example from Starbucks because it's important to remember that being a credit union does not mean you can't have fun. So we've noticed financial institutions, we've noticed coffee shops, we've noticed businesses. Every single sector uses user-generated content to take advantage of the creativity and the attentiveness of their members or customers in the case of Starbucks. So engage, but how? So we just want to give you some examples of campaigns that we love. This particular one in the phone screen, mock phone screen here, is the hashtag Red Cup Challenge. So what Starbucks does yearly around Christmas time, a great time, is they give away gift cards to people who post the most interesting, creative, viewed photo of the red cup. So it's a funny example. They're pouring the red cup out. There's a waterfall, very engaging. Wayfair, the furniture company, also has a good example where customers take pictures of the furniture in their home and then repost it. And the cool thing is there's a lot of creative ideas to do this with credit unions that haven't necessarily been done yet, and we'd love to give you some of those. For example, HELOC loans. What have your members done with those? Take a picture of the room, post a personal story. Look what we've done. Maybe it was an auto loan where they bought their kid their first car, and what story went along with that? And that is such a personal and deep and engaging way to really get a lot of attention from your members and give your members attention. So remember, being a credit union doesn't mean you can't have an Instagram account that's interesting. In fact, quite to the contrary, it's a really great opportunity. Any questions?
No, sir.
So now we want to talk about this famed Instagram resource toolkit that we've been mentioning throughout the presentation. So I'm sure a lot of the questions that you will have, or might think of later, relate to how do you do what we've just talked about today. And the great thing is we have a page that I've been working on for quite a while of the best resources compiled for you to do everything we've talked about today. So each slide has a resource that will help you really become successful in that topic. The first one that I mentioned is post scheduling tools. So not only will these be easy to use, but they'll be maybe free, and they'll give you a tutorial on exactly how to use them, and so will we. Next is an influencer finder. So a lot of the times, and Anya's more of an expert on influencers than I am, influencers can be a great way to get more attention for your account. So we're not necessarily talking about a celebrity, but there's also micro influencers. So one of your members who might be popular in the community. One of the credit unions we worked with had a member who was a photographer, and that photographer had a lot of Instagram followers, and then having a little partnership with him posting some of his photography was a really great way to engage. We have a tool that identifies trending hashtags for you. So a lot of the times I'll get the question, yes, I have a post and I want to put hashtags, but how do I know if the hashtag's popular? How do I find the hashtag? Now, this tool will automatically do that for you. Let's say you have a post about auto loans. If you type that into the database, it'll find a hashtag that relates to cars, motorcycles, boats, whatever it is that relates, and it'll automatically find one that's very popular for you. We also provide an Instagram story creator tool. So making stories is important, but making sure they look good is even more important. And this tool really helps design stories for Instagram that are active and engaging. And then lastly, and this is one of my favorite tools and one of the most valuable tools I can possibly recommend, is an advanced analytics tool. The great thing about the one that we recommend on our resources page is that it's actually free, so no need to pay for anything. But it provides a lot of great information about your audience, about potential audiences. So it's a free analytics tool that tracks user statistics. In this case, we're recommending it for Instagram, but honestly, it works very well with Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well if you're interested in those channels. It helps gain a deeper understanding of user growth, engagement, and follower demographics. That's also very good for identifying trends. Are there any
Alex,
questions?
Actually, I have one. You mentioned hashtags,
Right,
and using, of course, trending hashtags and so forth. I've seen some wildly different practices, and so I wanted to get y'all's feedback on how many hashtags do you feel are maybe appropriate for each post, and how many are just like, okay, that's just absolutely way too many.
I mean, it always depends on how good the hashtags are you're putting there. I would not put super random hashtags, of course, but I would take advantage of the possibility of using 30 hashtags on your post, just because it increases the reach of your post to a really high level. But you also don't want your whole post to only exist out of hashtags. There are different ways. For example, you put your hashtags in your comments, so they don't show up on the post itself. You just add a comment with the hashtags. It doesn't change the reach of the hashtag at all, but it might appear nicer because it's not in the post itself.
Okay.
That's true. That's a really great tip. I want to make sure you caught that. So instead of just putting the hashtag in the post, if you comment on your own post after, you can put a lot of hashtags and they won't necessarily appear, but they will have the effectiveness of the reach.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Of course. Are there any other questions on the tools in the resource section?
No, not at this time.
So also one of the things Alex mentioned about the analytics, we know that your C-suite wants to know, how do you measure this? What's the ROI? So a lot of these tools will help you so that when you present to your C-suite, you don't just say we have, 5,000 new likes or followers or 80,000 followers. It translates into an ROI that they can understand. And we've been spending a lot of time with this because we know with social, it's a lot trickier, it's a lot different than traditional media.
But the thing about social is, while it might be difficult initially for someone new to understand the ROI, it's actually much more measurable, because when you have traditional advertising, you might be able to estimate how many people have seen something, but you can't necessarily estimate their direct behavior after. So as I talked about Facebook Pixel, you can literally see how people react to your promotion. So if you promote a new loan that's happening and someone clicks on it, you'll see that they've clicked on it. If they go to apply to it, you'll see, oh, well, they've gone to apply to it. And Facebook Pixel will aggregate this into some columns for you on the Facebook Pixel website, and you'll be able to see how many people clicked on it, how many people applied to the offer after, how many people got the offer, how many people didn't like it, and it'll actually suggest reasons that they might not have liked it as well. So it's all about aggregating data and making sure that you're keeping up with what's working and what's not.
And we also want to add, we mentioned the initial audience of 18 to 29. This is the group that's using Instagram. So you focus on that mentality, that group, their likes, their interests. Instagram does not replace, once again, it will not replace your traditional advertising, but it definitely reaches that group. And we know from past experience that that's a group that credit unions want to reach. They have the mentality, they have the interest in a credit union, and so this is a way to show that you understand them, and they in turn will gravitate toward you, because once they feel that they're being heard, they will want to follow. Last slide basically is, if you'd like a copy of the resource toolkit, our contact information is here. Please feel free to drop a note. I know that Delynn will send you a copy of this presentation if you want the resources. Here's our contact information. And Delynn, if we don't have any further questions, I would love to thank everybody for participating today, and wishing you tremendous success. I think Alex has one last thing to add.
I do want to emphasize, this presentation will give you a comprehensive guide, especially if you get this resource toolkit. So all of the tools you'll need to actually execute this presentation for your Instagram will be provided.
We do actually have one last question. Actually,
Sure,
we have two. One is from Enrique Meza, and Enrique, if I mispronounced your last name, my apologies. Tips on what stories to highlight on your profile or how best to categorize them.
That's a great question. So it all depends on what kind of content you have. I worked with a credit union who did a lot of community relations events and a lot of financial tips. So the way I categorized their stories were under events and under financial tips. So when you go on Instagram, you'll be able to create folders and name them whatever you'd like. So if you're at a credit union that does a lot of community relations events, taking a little video or picture of that event when you're there on a phone with the login with the Instagram account, and then posting that into your events folder is a great thing to do. And financial tips are always helpful too, especially ones that relate to that audience age group. So those are two great categories for story classification.
And then there was one more question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. The highlights, they show up on your feed as little buttons, like little circles. And you're able to design those circles by uploading for example, a little button that shows a dollar sign or something that matches your CI colors. And by doing so, by having consistent highlights, it automatically makes your feed look more like your CI and makes it look even nicer.
Did that answer the question?
I do believe so. And then there was one other question that came in from Kathy Mayer. Is the resource kit free, or is there a cost?
No, it's free.
Okay. And that's all the questions I've seen come through so far.
Great.
Well, we've really enjoyed presenting. Sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We've really enjoyed presenting, and we hope this was insightful for everyone. If you have any questions, we would also be very happy to answer any that you hadn't thought of yet. So please do feel free to reach out.
Yeah, feel free to drop the note to me, and I'll forward it on to Alex or Anya if you have any additional questions that might not have come up during the session, but might come up later on while you're working on your Instagram account.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Renee, Alex, Anya, on behalf of MAC, I want to thank you all so much for such a wonderful, wonderful webinar. And like they said, their contact information is up there on the screen if you have any questions. I want to thank everyone for attending today and remind you that you will receive an email from Mac that will contain a link to the slide deck as well as a link to the recorded version of this webinar. Our next webinar is scheduled for August 22nd, so be on the lookout for emails for that. And with that, I want to thank everyone and wish you a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.